Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today, well, it's focused on a case that should really be setting off massive alarms.
Absolutely. Alarms across the financial security world.
We're unpacking this truly stunning cyber fraud incident in Agra, and it serves as a huge warning, frankly, about systemic security gaps, especially for you, the listener, who's tracking modern financial risk.
Yeah, definitely one to watch.
So the victim here is Ravi Mohan Kandpal. He's an events and photography professional based in Shastripuram.
Right.
And this wasn't just some quick scam. It feels more like a sophisticated, almost surgical theft targeting his business capital.
And the amount involved is just staggering. We're talking 41 lakh.
41 lakh.
That's a life-altering sum for, a professional who isn't part of some huge corporation, siphoned silently from his current account.
And it was a new account too, right?
Brand new. Opened March 4, 2025 at IDFC First Bank, the Sanjay Place branch.
And that silence, that's the core mystery we need to unpack here. Because this massive theft happened without Mr. Kandpal getting a single SMS alert, not one phone call, no communication whatsoever from the bank about these huge transfers.
Which is just not how it's supposed to work.
Not at all. Okay, let's walk through the timeline because this is where it gets even stranger. Kandpal was actually incredibly proactive.
He really was.
The alarm bells, they went off for him pretty early. On March 13th, 2025, he gets a suspicious email. Something felt off, hinting his details might be compromised.
And he didn't wait around.
No, he immediately contacted the bank, asked them to freeze his account right then and there. And crucially, he also blocked his existing SIM card that same day.
Smart move. Trying to head off any SIM swap attack.
Exactly. And he got his number reactivated on a completely new SIM card by March 15th. So he basically tried to build a firewall around his finances.
Yeah, he did all the right things, seemingly. But that firewall, well, it didn't hold.
Apparently not.
And this is where it gets really interesting and, frankly, quite concerning. Despite freezing the account, despite changing his SIM, the actual fraud, the transactions totaling that 41 lakh.
Yeah.
They happened later, weeks later, actually, on April 2nd and 3rd. Transferred out to completely unknown recipients.
Wait, hold on. April 2nd and 3rd, but he froze the account back in mid-March.
Correct.
How does that even happen? I mean, isn't the whole point of freezing an account to stop money going out?
That's $1 million, or rather the 41 lakh question, isn't it? It raises serious doubts. This sounds less like just a clever external hack and potentially more like
something failed internally, a major security lapse at the bank.
Precisely. That timeline anomaly is, well, it's the smoking gun. The money moving after he took these preventative steps suggests the attacker wasn't relying on the usual methods, like, getting an OTP sent to his phone.
So what are the possibilities then, technically speaking?
Well, it points towards a couple of key hypotheses the investigation really needs to dig into. First, could there have been a failure in the bank's core banking system, the CBS?
Okay.
Maybe something allowed a system-level override, perhaps a compromised internal employee ID, or even some kind of zero-day vulnerability that bypasses the normal transaction limits and checks.
And the second angle. Because the lack of alerts is just as baffling.
That points squarely at alert suppression. It's terrifying, but if a fraudster can somehow compromise the system that handles the SMS alerts, maybe the API linked to the customer information file, the CIF.
They could just turn them off.
Effectively, yes.
Yeah.
Or reroute them. They could execute these huge transfers completely silently. That suggests a failure not just at the perimeter, but deep within the bank's communication security, moving that kind of money without the standard text notification. That's a critical breakdown.
Wow. And then adding insult to injury, the aftermath was a nightmare too.
Yeah, the bureaucratic hurdles.
After discovering this catastrophic theft, Kandpal apparently really struggled just to get a formal case, an FIR, registered. The cyber cell, the local police, they weren't quick to act.
And that's a huge problem we see often, connecting to the bigger picture of tackling modern crime. What's really telling here is the path he was forced to take.
He had to go to court.
He had to file a petition in court, yeah. It was only after the court directed the Sikandra police that they finally lodged the FIR and started a proper investigation.
That just highlights a serious systemic bottleneck, doesn't it? Law enforcement maybe being unequipped or perhaps just hesitant to dive into complex cybercrimes until they're legally compelled.
It certainly seems that way in this instance.
So boiling it down, what does this case really tell us? It feels like it underscores, well, at least two catastrophic failures.
I'd agree.
First, the bank's security structure. It allowed this silent, delayed withdrawal despite the customer taking protective steps. And second, the justice system's initial failure to respond quickly to a major digital theft.
And it shines a harsh light on the vulnerability of these professional current accounts. The ones holding significant working capital. They seem dangerously exposed right now.
So, connecting this to the bigger picture, the investigation has to pinpoint exactly where the failure occurred. Was it transaction authorization? Was it that alert suppression mechanism? Or did the account freezing protocol itself somehow fail?
Exactly. We need to know if this was a one-off targeted exploit, or if it points to a deeper, latent vulnerability in the banking software or procedures that could affect others.
Okay, let's leave you with a final thought to mull over. We live in an age where you get an instant text alert if you buy a coffee for 50 rupees, right?
Standard practice.
So how reliable are our financial institutions really if a transfer of 41 lakh can just vanish, completely disappear without a single whisper to the person whose money it is? That deafening silence. It's just the problem might not just be external hackers. It could be rooted deep inside the system's own architecture.